There is such a creature in the world. They were discovered by a few people, but it has not been confirmed to exist. We refer to this group of creatures as Unidentified Mysterious Animal. Unidentified organism referred to as UMA. Hello and welcome to the UMA video series. Afghanistan War. It is one of the worst conflicts of the 21st century. Time, sex has led to the displacement of a large number of Afghan civilians. The land was devastated. The social fabric and infrastructure have been severely damaged. In this war of chaos and disaster, strange worlds keep popping up. One was sent to Special Field American Squad in the desert. Lost contact with headquarters after mission. It is said that they encountered a huge humanoid obstruction. And that's the theme of this video. Afghanistan War. The suspected discovery of a giant primate. Kandahar Giant. There is one of the earliest descriptions of the Kandahar Giants, from 2005 experts who have studied the myth of giants. The Long-Distance Traveler by Steve Quill. The Return of Philly. But because of the content of this book, it was based on an eyewitness report. Make it up. So we'll skip it. Go straight to the topic. Coast and Coast. It is a famous midnight radio show in the United States, mainly related to supernatural events or conspiracy theory-related content as a theme, face-to-face, or by telephone interview to discuss the incident. Attracted a large audience. At its peak, the number of weekly listeners exceeded 10 million. December 3, 2008. Steve Quayle talked about it on the show. His latest research on giants shows that the mysterious organization of the US government, possibly to capture living giants and put it in suspended animation to study their genetic makeup. At the same time, he also invited the pilot of the anonymous US Army 4130 female secretary, the eyewitness mentioned above, connect in the show. The latter claims, during 2002 in Afghanistan, one shipped one giant humanoid corpse. He was flying a plane, landed on a mountain in Kandahar, and from a distance I saw this huge thing. He described the creature as having red hair. Each hand has 6 fingers. Huge feet. Wearing crude shoes made of canvas. The large net used to transport him was 12 feet long. After the plane takes off, remove the weight of the net. You can calculate the weight of this thing. Around 1,180. That's about 500 kilograms. Judging by the scars on his body. Was shot by Army firearms. The body eventually was shipped to a military base in Ohio. Steve Quill's books and interviews attracted paranormal researcher Lynn Marzulli's idea. For years, he has been through his own connections. Search for possible witnesses. In 2010, he hosted a supernatural documentary. The Observer series is released. After the show airs, director Lee Child Shaw received an anonymous phone call or express. One of the American soldiers who shot the giant. August 13, 2016. In the latest episode of The Observer, Mazzulli to this participant, Mr. K, conducted an interview. Since then, this bizarre story, it really shows up in front of people. 2002, a U.S. Army patrol in Afghanistan, after completing the task, lost contact with a base in a remote mountainous area. They were attacked in turn. The special operations team to which the protagonist Mr. K belongs, sent to the seabed for search and rescue. The plane entered this area and landed. They start walking to their target location. Period. They repeatedly called the missing person over the walkie-talkie, but received no reply. When they followed a suspicious trail, when turning a path on the mountainside, suddenly see the mountain. There is a huge open cave around the entrance, covered with scattered rocks and the bones of various creatures, although it cannot be determined that it is a human bone at the first time. But Mr. K said, and he was there, saw the wreckage of their military communications equipment. At that time, they thought the patrol may have been attacked by some kind of animal. The hole compared to where they are, there's a steep drop. Relatively flat ground allows them to have enough room to deploy and vigilance. But when the monster came out of the hole, still shocked everyone. K-line description. That's a height. Tall males around 12 to 15 feet. Long. Turquoise beard and hair over the shoulders. Each hand eats a huge shield and a spear-like weapon. He starts closing in on the team. Everyone was terrified by this harmful scene. A team member named Chan was the first to react. Start charging towards the giant and shoot. The echo of the gunshots brought everyone back to reality. It also evokes their muscle memory as soldiers. Start pulling the trigger. Sheets of bullets. The monster was not killed immediately. He charged into the crowd, penetrated dry chest with long hair, then continued to go out towards other people. The intercom is filled with a sentence. Face design. Face design. The whole squad, equipped with an M for assault rifle, Wilson .308 sniper rifle, and the Barrett M80 to semi-automatic sniper rifle. Mr. K said, the shooting lasted for 30 seconds. The monster finally fell. The latter has been moving during the period and tried to launch an attack. After the soldier was killed, U.S. Military Command Center, the helicopters were dispatched soon. A plane used to transport the corpses of giants. One to pick up the troops. When they worked together to put the body in the net pocket, Mr. K noticed, this monster exudes a strong stench resembling a decomposing corpse. Each hand has 6 fingers. Nails are sharp and rough. It's covered with fungus. And you end up with 2 rows of teeth, top and bottom. Afterwards, they returned to the base to report the situation. Be told soon. Prohibited to anyone disclose any information about this operation. And signed a non-disclosure agreement. Mr. K said on the show that he came forward and made the incident public. Make him think. People have a right to know what's happening on this planet. Mr. K is not the only witness. Mazzulli said he has met with Mr. K 3 times in succession to verify the reliability of its policies. However, on the way to one of the meetings, he discovered that the driver who received him was also a retired soldier and participated in the war in Afghanistan. In an interview with Mazzulli, the witness, who goes by the pseudonym Mr. D, said, he went to Afghanistan in 2005. They're not direct witnesses. Upon arrival at the base, I just started hearing about my fellow soldiers discussing this topic. One of their squads was at a cave entrance. They discovered and killed a person. For this statement, at first he didn't care, but then he heard. That person is 3 times the size of the average human. More fingers and toes than normal. With red hair. There is a special force. Came to pick up the body. Mr. G said. The soldiers who were involved in the operation at that time heard about it. Just secrecy about the content of the operation. Is there common sense? That's when he understood. Why in training before the front column? Asked to raise the muzzle higher and familiarize yourself with more ways of fighting in caves. This could mean that the military believes that area. There may be more. This large human creature. Nick Orton. He's an active-duty U.S. Army logistics officer. He is also a paranormal enthusiast. He will be in the military and a collection of veterans. Paranormal event report, put together into a book. It's called A Story from Grid Square. It also records another question. Except for the Kandahar Giants, encounters in Afghanistan. Report of the giant human creature. The first is an anonymous U.S. Army squad leader. He said that one night in 2008-2009, he was on patrol in Kunar Province, Afghanistan, overlooking the valley with a hot car camera system. At the top of a hillside, we found a huge heat signature. The height of the trees in that area, it's between 10 and 12 feet. And this thing is taller than a tree. He moves incredibly fast. He walked straight up the ridge. Finally disappeared from the picture. Second report. From a U.S. Air Force officer. Reaper Series drone operator. He's in northern Afghanistan when using aircraft for search missions. Saw a giant in a humble hut. They are about 3 to 4 meters tall. Wearing very rough clothes. Wearing a thick cloak. The goat next to them looks like a kitten. These giants aren't doing anything crazy, but like ordinary people, handling the clutter of life. The surveillance lasted about 10 minutes, until the troops are out of drone response range. The other 2 reports were also similar to the above incident. From a U.S. Air Force pilot and a former member of the Australian Army. They are located in eastern Karen. Do it with Urus. To the giant humanoid at 8 to 12 feet tall. Except for wearing. Other behaviors of these creatures. No different from ordinary people. Apparently eyewitnesses. The image of the Kandahar Giant in my mouth. No known creature can match it. For now, there are 2 most popular theories about giants. One is that the Kandahar Giants exist. Even the race of giants. In fact, those humans have always lived. Hard to reach areas. to avoid causing unnecessary panic. The United States and high-level governments around the world, they deliberately withheld these news. The image of the giant itself, gods around the world. It is recorded in words and legends. Mazzulli and Steve Quill both think these bizarre reports of huge human creature sightings may confirm the mythical giants, the existence of the Nephilim. Nephilim refers to the Hebrew Bible, one of the body types mentioned, an unusually large mysterious group. In Genesis 6, there is a passage like this. Laphorite is the son of God, the offspring of the female union of the world. They are ancient heroes, famous warrior. It is mentioned in chapter 13 of the Civil Affairs Department's memory roll, when the Israelites were about to enter the land of Sinan, and they saw the beautiful South Africans living on the land. They were big, burly people. For them, ordinary people are like fried. So far, most ancient Bibles hold that South African beauty refers to giants. But there are also some claims that the word Nephilim, from Hebrew word for fall ones, the Son of God refers to the fallen angel. So South African beauties are a bunch of degenerates. Of course, the biblical description of the beautiful South Africans, it's actually rather vague. And it's almost supernatural, or theology, and religious beliefs. I don't know much here, so it's hard to say more. But I personally think that's a bit far-fetched, because according to the information I found, whether it's Mazzulli or Steve, even including Mr. Yi above, all Chinese Christians? So in terms of this theory, there will inevitably be personal factors. The other theory is quite different. They believe that, in war, these bizarre. But there is no trace of the report. It's actually official, to reduce the sensitivity of some war reports, and release some useless information. Careful netizens discovered, until the withdrawal of US troops by the end of August 2021, these bizarre stories are coming to an end. So, this is undoubtedly a means of psychological warfare for the US military. And from my personal point of view, in fact, the factor of throwing out the US Information Brigade troops, just by the description of the event, I think, the possibility of the existence of the so-called Kandahar Giants. There are still some, but reason tells me, not very likely. It is only based on the image of a giant. Common denominator in mythology, and it has to be reminiscent. That giant skeleton thing that lasted throughout the 19th century. Peace when you. The news of the discovery of the bones of the lost giant, all over the world. Hundreds of newspapers. The story of the discovery of the remains of giants was reported. Although some scholars doubts about so-called giant excavations. But most readers agree that this is historical evidence recorded in the Bible. Strange thing is, we're going to find where these bones went. You will find almost all samples are in the name of lost. Disappear from people's sight. Certainly, and there was a lot of false reports that were substantiated. For example, the Cardiff Giants incident in 1869. It's all about business. A scam created. Until 1934. Anthropologist Alexei of the Smithsonian Institution. Henry Card officially refutes the idea of giant sea bones and said, people are often deceived by larger femurs because they are not familiar with human anatomy at all. But there is also a school of scholars who believe that it was the Smithsonian that hid the giant bones and blocked the message. Now, if we just look at these sightings of the giant Daha, review these descriptions carefully, we'll find all events are lack of crucial time details. And the US military, the control over the confidentiality of information is quite strict. It's not what it says on the internet. Leaks are everywhere. Allowing public content releases permissions. But the part that involves sensitive information, it is inaccessible to ordinary people. And Mazzulli, as a paranormal researcher, a writer, he's also a video creator. If news about giants is blocked, I don't think he can easily in the form of a documentary present the interview to the audience. Plus, mysterious creatures and urban legends related to the military. It's always been very popular. We have reason to suspect that these stories are false. Structure: August 31st, 2016. Los Angeles reporter Bethania Palma at Snopes. There's an article posted online about tasting tea. The article said they had contacted the Ministry of Defense. Ask for news about giants. The reply received is, we don't have any information about Special Forces members in Kandahar, records of being killed by giants, or information, and even though the web page has expired. But on the Defense Department press release page, lists casualties in all wars. In 2002 years, the only one who sacrificed was called Daniel's soldier. It's China Unicom. 3 other people were involved in an accident that involved cleaning up bandages. Killed in. So let's put it all together. About all important information about the Kandahar Giants. Can't stand. Certainly, this is just an inference from my personal point of view. Perhaps there really is one on Earth. The giant primates we don't know about. Just us now. It's limited by what we already know. After all, the unknown is always greater than the known. This is the perfect charm. Okay, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.